What is going on, squad? Is the sourdough squad in the building? I miss you guys, man. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in years almost. I didn't get to see you guys much before the game. Didn't get to see you guys during the game, but guess what? We're here, baby. We're back, baby. You can't keep us down for that long. We're back. Let's go. Good to see you guys. If you're in the sourdough squad, drop a SDS in the chat. You know the dang vibes. We're back. We see all the fam here today. Let's go. Let's go. We're back. They can't hold us down for too long. Tinfoil hat gang. You see the vibes. Let's go. All right. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Oh, look at all the SDSs coming through. Look at the squad. Look at the squad, bruh. We deep. We deep out here. Let's go. Appreciate you guys, man. We got the baguettes and everything. Let's go, Trey's team. So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about clearly from the game that transpired yesterday. Again, the 49ers lost 17-10 to the Arizona Cardinals. We all understand that the 49ers didn't win that game. That's not groundbreaking news. It's not groundbreaking news. To be able to get in the SDS, it's a very prestigious group. We're a very prestigious community. All you have to do is hit subscribe and hit like, and you're in the group. Shout out Sourdough Squad whenever you show up. And you got my back, I got your back. That's how it works. We're a gang here, Sourdough Squad gang. And then we'll jump you in. We'll have initiation. But let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. First of all, let's start with some transactional news. The 49ers have cut Buster Screen. Darn it. He really had a big impact. Really had a big impact to the team. Now, in all seriousnness, Buster Screen, again, is an older vet signed when news came that K'Wan Williams wasn't able to go. So he was signed. He was just cut not too long ago, according to Tom Palacero. So very short tenure for Buster Screen. Buster Screen is let go. Services aren't retained. We didn't really. I don't remember seeing him play. Felt like we saw a lot of Dante Johnson again during this game. Which is to be expected, I believe, at this point, considering all the injuries that the 49ers continue to have at the cornerback position. Doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon. Daniel says, Brad, you have been the only optimistic person regarding the current mess. Many of us need therapy today. And I guess if you like optimism, I guess you're in the right spot because I'm going to be more optimistic. I had a lot of fun watching because I saw a situation where the 49ers weren't executing their baseline offense. They weren't blocking well up front. Wide receivers were dropping passes with the rookie quarterback's first real substantial playing time in the NFL. And he being Trey Lance found himself in a position to still win that game. So let's get into it. Let's just hop right in. We got a lot to talk about, obviously, and I'm going to focus a lot on Trey Lance, of course, and his performance and how he did, because I know there's a lot of dialogue. about the performance. There's a lot of back and forth of who's to blame. Of course, we understand. This isn't our first rodeo. If the team loses, it's who do we blame? Why did we lose? Like, who do we point the finger at? I understand that's comes along with the territory, being a fan of football and things like that. We'll definitely look into that. We will look into like who should shoulder some of this blame, who should really we be focusing on as to why things aren't going a certain way. We'll get into that as well. But first of all, let's focus on Trey Lance. Let's talk about the first drive. First drive, I really liked it. Obviously, outside the interception, I don't think anyone liked that. But based on how they started, first play of the game, you had a protection breakdown. They overloaded one side and they sent the house. And I like good call by the Cardinals. Don't let Trey get comfortable at all. So I like the call by the defense. Uh, 49ers weren't able to really block it up too well. And right as Trey Lance gets back into his hitch, he's got a defender in his face. And what does Trey Lance do? He just steps right up into the pocket, shows off his elite pocket awareness. I mean, I'm talking that pocket awareness that Trey Lance has. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal with how he's able to anticipate and sense pressure with his eyes downfield. I think it's one of the things that when we compare and contrast Jimmy Garoppolo to Trey Lance, one of the things that we really look for in Jimmy Garoppolo, or really wish for in Jimmy Garoppolo, is just better pocket awareness, better pocket presence, being able to feel pressure while keeping your eyes downfield. And I think that's one of the things that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't as great at. And then you get to see the counter to that, which is Trey Lance, who's insane at that. He really, really is. And for him to be able to have the composure to be able to do those types of things, especially early on in the game, it was really, really good to see. Again, he was making some good passes, and then we had the interception. I I get it. Like it's one of those things where I don't necessarily hate the decision. I maybe would prefer in this situation for Trey Lance to find check who's coming out of the backfield, or run it. I think, uh, I get it. He wants to make plays. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker. And I think that's evident. And he wants to push the ball downfield. He is a quarterback. He wants to throw. He's being asked to run quite a bit, but I really believe that Trey Lance, at the end of the day, wants to throw the football. So I love the fact that he kept his eyes downfield. I love the fact that he pinpointed a wide receiver. It was a difficult throw. It was a difficult throw. It was a bit of a layered throw. He would have to get it over a linebacker, drop it in front of a safety. It's a difficult throw on the run, moving up, forward. It's a hard throw. That's not. It's not an easy throw. So the thought process there is you process that in real time and be like, I could probably make that throw, but it's a hard throw. So let's just hit Trey, or let's hit Juice, get a nice 5, 7, hell, even 12-yard gain, reset the sticks, and live to play another down. And I think Trey Lance, with maturity and timing, those kinds of decisions will be right there at the forefront of his thought process and his mind when he's deciding where to go with the football. But overall, as the game continued, I thought Trey Lance did a pretty darn good job. Um, I know there were instances of inaccurate throws. Again, I recognize that this is going to be the case going into the game. He's a rookie. It's his first start. We saw the nerves when he came in at halftime against Philadelphia. We saw that there were nerves there. And one of the thing as a player, when you have nerves, typically the first thing that goes is your technique, because you start playing off instinct. You stop playing on all of those things that you've been coaching and repping and repping and repping and repping for a really long time. And sometimes you go back to those old days of playing on the playground with your friends, and you just kind of lose some of that technique a little bit. I think against Philadelphia, you saw that. I just felt like, he's a bit in over his skis, thrown into a really tough situation. And I felt like his technique was crazy. He didn't really have this really confidence in him from the pocket. It started to happen over time in the Philadelphia game, but I think right away against the Cardinals, we saw it. I think we saw him look completely more calmed down right off the jump. And he even settled in as the game went on. So I think it's important for us as fans to remember that there are nerves that come along with being a rookie. There are nerves that come along with getting your first career NFL start. There's just uncertainty. You don't know. You've never done it before. This is literally his first time. He's never done it before. So I think under that context and the circumstance, I thought he played decent, even with the early INT. I really liked how he responded. I really, really like how Trey Lance responded to the early pick. Um, he didn't get flustered. He didn't unravel. He didn't start compounding negative plays. He didn't start reaching. He just stayed the course and kept playing his game and going with the calls that were called. So I really, really was optimistic a lot from what I saw from Trey Lance. Again, he completed 15 of 29 pass attempts for 192 yards. How many drops did he have? How many drops did he have? I mean, I don't know. I think I saw somewhere he had 6 drops. And I think I also saw somewhere else, don't quote me on this, but I think the 49ers receiving core is leading the entire league in drop percentage. So not only that, um, the refs were awful. And whatever. Like refs, I hate to blame the refs because at the end of the day, I believe this team is good enough to execute and beat any team that steps in front of them if they play their game, even if that means they're playing the refs as well. But at a certain point, in regards to rhythm and responsibility of putting drives together, the refs really made that difficult for the 49ers. Really made that difficult for a young rookie quarterback. Again, we understand the 49ers O line went against probably the hardest defensive line that they've seen. Um, JJ Watt looks for like he doesn't look like he's lost a step at all. Chandler Jones was still Chandler Jones. 94 looked really good. I was like, who the hell is 94? 94 looked good. They looked solid. They had a stout unit. So not only did they have a stout unit and kind of was getting our offensive line out of sorts a bit. Again, I haven't done the full study, so I'm going to reserve my offensive line critiques once I've studied the tape. I haven't done the full study yet, so I'm not going to go there. You guys know I will. You guys know I will. Um, but a lot of those drives, whether the 49ers did commit a penalty or not, um, it was hard. It's hard for a quarterback to get in rhythm. It's hard for a quarterback but again, Trey Lance felt like one of the only people on the like at least on the offensive side of the football that was being consistent. And the fact that the rookie in his first NFL start against a now 5-0 Cardinals team who has an MVP on the other side is going up against a multiple uh, defensive MVP candidate in JJ Watt. Chandler Jones is the most underrated pass rusher in the NFL. You have stacked young talent across that defense. Trey Lance wasn't the reason why the 49ers lost that game. And that's why everyone should take a step back off Lance. I see Twitter. We all understand Twitter is pure toxicity. We get it. But again, you have to be able to factor in all the different layers that go into why someone does good or does bad. And I would say after all of those circumstances, dropped passes, killed momentum from drop passes, Trey Lance showed up every drive. And for a rookie in his first start, stepping in for Jimmy Garoppolo's team, that's pretty damn impressive. I'm absolutely impressed. So I don't buy the notion that Trey Lance didn't play well. Could he have played better? Of course he could have played better. He's a rookie. Rookies can always play better. Rookies can always improve. That's the beauty of it. They're rookies. So this narrative that continues to float around about Trey Lance and I don't know. Trey Lance is legit, dude. And I don't even think he was used the way he should have been used by the offensive coordinator. I don't like a lot of the calls that were made. But again, you also have to recognize a lot of those drives were halted due to just terrible, whether mistimed holding by an offensive lineman or just a blown call, which there were a lot of. I felt like there's a lot of terrible calls by that ref on both sides of the football. I think the Cardinals got some really bad calls, and I know we for a fact got a bunch of bad calls. But again, let's circle it back to Trey. The INT, the stop on the 1 yard line. The stop on the 1-yard line. Trey Lance, man, did not shudder. And I don't think people are giving this dude credit. The early INT on the first drive, again, that killed everyone. That killed my momentum. I'm sure it killed your momentum. I'm sure it killed their momentum on the sideline. Like, that's not what we wanted for Trey Lance. We wanted Trey Lance to come out, put a nice drive together, get some points, and then boom, look, Trey Lance, the offense, it's working. We got points. We have a chance against a divisional opponent that's 4-0. That's what we wanted. That's what we wanted. That's what the coaching staff wanted. That's what his players wanted. That's what everyone wanted. But even still, threw the pick and just didn't even look like it phased him. And that's one of my biggest things when evaluating quarterback talent. It's one of my biggest reasons why I was such a Justin Fields fan when he was coming out of Ohio State. Justin Fields went through so much damn adversity during his last final career at Ohio State, and he bounced back every time. He bounced back every time. And that's one of the reasons why I liked him so much. I wasn't able to scout Trey Lance through that lens. We didn't get a 2020 out of Trey Lance. So I wasn't able to scout him through that lens. I only was able to scout Justin Fields in real time and then had the entire offseason to go back and watch it. I didn't have that with Trey Lance. That was one of the reasons why I loved Justin Fields. And that's one of the reasons why 49er fans should love Trey Lance. This dude has ice in his veins. The fact that we just saw a rookie throw a pick, not let him phase him, get stopped at the 1-inch line and not let him phase him, he got crunched, man. He got crunched. My only critique on that is, welcome to the NFL, Trey. Welcome to the NFL. You're not going to be able to run everyone over in the NFL. You're not. You're not. So take angles. So my biggest critique on that particular run was not that he went and tried to get it. I love everything about that. Is you could have just taken a slight angle at the pylon, and then you're changing the way the physics work. So all he does is take an angle at the pylon rather than going head up like into two Mack trucks. You're changing the forward momentum. So all he does, instead of going like this, he just angles at the pylon. It's probably a little bit easier to get in. That's correctable, man. That's correctable. But what you can see there is the heart. The heart is there. The will to be great is there. The baseline intangibles, not measurables, intangibles that you need to have are there. They are there for everyone to see. And again, that's hard, dude. INT, you get stopped trying to run your ass in on the 1 and turn it over downs. God, you could melt right there. If he melted, I would understand. I would be able to sympathize a bit. I might not be happy with it, but I'd be able to sympathize with it. The fact is he did not give up. Didn't even phase him, man. And this is a rookie in his first freaking game. That's what I'm saying. Buy Trey Lance's jersey right now. Everyone's out there crapping on him. Why? What are you watching? What are you watching? It became a point where this was the Trey Lance show, and this is his first game. Why are we doing that? Why is this all on Trey Lance? Why is Elijah Mitchell running 9 times? Why is Trey Sermon running 1 time? Why is he playing primarily out of shotgun when you don't practice that ever? I went to training camp. I was there. I saw the offense that they installed for Trey Lance on the first 2 day of pads, and then they canned it. I was there until training camp, until they said, you guys can't come to training camp anymore. So we really going to bag on Trey? We really going to bag on Trey? That's the guy we want to go after. We want to go after the rookie. I think that's my hardest thing with, I understand people are upset. I understand the 49ers lost. I get it. But how do you look at all those scenarios and then come up with the opinion that Trey Lance is trash? How? I don't understand. I don't trust if that's your ability or that's your opinion. I don't trust your evaluation. I don't trust your ability to evaluate, and that's okay. That's okay. That's why there's people like uh who's out there like Croc, Jordan Elliott, all these guys who are breaking down tape, Javier Vega, like all these guys out there are breaking down and evaluating. There's a science to evaluation, and it's okay. Not everyone's going to be good at it, but geez, go easy. Go easy. So again, I like I said, a big portion of this, of course, is going to be dedicated to Trey. I think you can sense where some of my frustrations are aimed at, and we'll get into that in a second. But I do want to tie up a bow on Trey Lance, his first NFL start, how I felt, what I thought, all that kind of stuff. So again, not only did Trey Lance go 15 for 29, 192 with I think 6 drops. That's a lot, bro. Come on. That's a lot. And not only is it a lot, but those are compounding drops. They compound the situation that they were already in. Like people, I just think have a hard time recognizing that sometimes. Jay McGuine, I probably destroyed that. Traded good, but he really needs to learn how to slide because we want him to be with us a very long time. I think there's levels to that. And why not? Let's get into that right now. I think there's levels to this. Let's get into it. Yes. I felt like me and Trey's mom were like the same vibe. Like when they showed her like on the sidelines, like with her hands over her face, like this, like barely watching, and like I felt like Trey's mom. I was like, we're gonna get our guy killed. Like we're gonna get our guy killed. What are we doing? Why are we doing this to our rookie? So yes, Trey needs to slide, but I also saw plenty and plenty of opportunities where Trey Lance did what any cerebral athletic quarterback would do and hit the dirt before he got tackled. I saw that on multiple occasions. Now, it might not have been pretty. Like, it might not have been like, what people envision as slides, as like, your pretty, like baseball style slide into the base. Like, um, it might not be like that, but I saw many instances where Trey hit the dirt before he got tackled. So I saw it. I saw the ability to minimize the impact in the hits. I saw it. So does he need to slide better? I guess. But I saw the awareness. I saw the awareness. I really saw his ability to be able to identify, all right, I'm going down, so I'm getting down. So I saw that on multiple occasions. Now, so it is what it is. Can they get better? Of course. But it is what it is. I thought he did okay. I didn't think it was an issue. However, the issue though, what did he say? The issue though, you did bring up the good point. The real issue is we do want him here for a very long time, so we have to use him. We have to protect Trey from himself at a certain point, because this is what we learned about Trey. We learned that Trey has got cojones. We learned Trey has got heart. We learned Trey is a fighter. So we know Trey's going to fight for every yard. So it's up to the coach to protect his own boy from himself. That's part of being a coach. It's part of instilling mindsets. It's part of instilling how we operate. That's on the coach, man. That's partly on the coach, at least in my opinion. And there's going to be a lot that comes back to coach, but I think we're going to save coach for the end, because coach is going to get some spice thrown on him, but we're going to save that for the end. In regards to, again, Trey Lance, his overall performance, the way he played, very happy, very pleased. And I see tons of potential. I really, really see a guy. Why I get it. I know why they took him maybe over Justin Fields. Someone that I really, really like. Um, during the pre-draft process, I get it. I didn't have the same assets that they had to scout Trey. Trey was a much different resource. Um, he was a much different resource to try and scout than your typical any other scouting year. So he was really hard to scout, but you could see everything that you had. Let's see. What else do I want to say about Trey Lance? I think he showed immense promise, immense potential. I saw a lot. I saw a lot. And I'm not upset by the performance. I thought he gave us a chance to win, regardless of the interception and the goal line stands. That's what's so promising about him. Sean says, after seeing Trey, do we realistically go back to Jimmy? He played well against a top-rated defense. How well would he do after the bye week against a weaker foe defensively? So this is my thing, and you guys, I want to see what you guys think too. I think the big question that's going to come from this performance is who's starting. Who's starting after the bye week against the Colts? Who do you guys think it's going to be, or who do you want it to be? I'm going to tell you what I'll tell you what I think, but I want to see who you guys want. Who you want, not who you think, because I know those things can be conflicting and be different. But I am interested to see who you guys want. Jimmy starting week 7 against the Colts. Trey Lance starting week 7 against the Colts. Let's see. I got a Luke. I know my boy Luke wants that Jimmy start. We got another Jimmy start. Trey. It's a perfect situation for Trey to start. Trey is big and fast. He will make many spectacular plays, but I don't want him limping like RG3. Trey all day. Oh wow, you guys are letting him rip. Keep 5 out there. Want Jimmy G. Juan P wants Jimmy G. Jimmy G is done. We got a season's over. Doesn't matter. That's kind of bleak. Kyle starting Jimmy. Trey will start after the bye week. Trey should start, but Jimmy will. So again, talking about what we want, what we think versus what will happen. Jimmy starts. Trey. Jimmy is definitely starting. Trey, if it wasn't him, we would post bad. Trey. So it's actually there's definitely a lot of people in favor of Trey for sure. But I would say Jimmy Garoppolo is pretty well represented. I say Jimmy Garoppolo is pretty well represented. See tons of Trey though. Trey, yeah, lots of Treys. Trey. Okay, now I'm getting to all the Treys. Oh, we got a Sudfeld. Wake up, honey, Sudfeld dart. All right, so I think you guys get the point. I just wanted to see. I wanted to get a sense. Suddy for Teddy. Just wanted to get a sense. It does feel like it is predominantly Trey Lance. Like I said, though, Jimmy G is well represented. So let's get into it. I'll tell you what I think. I'll give you all the reasons. I really feel like what at this point, what can Jimmy give us that we haven't seen and that we understand are the issues? So I'll talk about some of the things that I think with Jimmy Garoppolo for me has, and I agree. I don't think this is a side thing, Luke. I really don't. I just want to explain my thought process. I really just want to explain my thought process on this. And this isn't to divide anyone. I think we should all, again, we're the sourdough squad. We are gang. So at the end of the day, we can disagree we don't have to agree on everything, but we're still gang. We still hold each other up and we're a vibe. That's why we're the sourdough squad. We can attack hard topics, but we can be respectful to both sides. It is what it is, and that's how I try to operate. So I'm talking about it like this. With Jimmy Garoppolo, I think we're very confident with what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And unfortunately, I think defenses are very confident in what Jimmy Garoppolo is. And they're selling out to stop what he's comfortable in attacking. And as a result, the offense is struggling. The offense is struggling. I think there's a disconnect at the end of the day between Jimmy and Shanahan. Again, again, Kyle Shanahan is the end all be all of this team, at least at what it feels like from a personnel standpoint. And Kyle Shanahan went out of his way for 6 months, 7 months to try to get a different quarterback. Now, again, that would probably put some bad blood between your starting quarterback and your head coach, who makes all the decisions, creates the narratives and spins the narratives. So I can imagine that there's a great relationship there. I just can't. And so when I think of it like that, and then I see the offense not being able to get into rhythm, kind of makes sense to me. Kind of makes sense in the sense of I don't think those guys are vibing. The replacement is on the roster. There's two offenses. Why? Why are there two offenses? And we've already seen for 4 weeks or 3.5 of the way Jimmy attacks opposing defenses. And if there's ever a situation where they get behind, now again, he struggled mightily against Green Bay in the first half. He came back and did his job. He came back and did some work, put the 49ers in position to be successful and win the game. He absolutely did and deserves all the credit for that. But still, like, it felt like really hard to get back in that game for a lot of the same reasons that we're talking about. Defenses squat on the middle. Defenses are just daring him to throw to the numbers, daring him to stretch the field. They're not respecting his game. They aren't. And that's just a fact of the matter. We can argue about Jimmy versus Trey all we want. Just look at how the other teams are treating Jimmy. That's all you need to know. And at a certain point, we have to realize when the other teams don't respect your quarterback and they're literally daring him to do things and he's not doing them. At a certain point, based on the context that came before it, there has to be a tipping point. There has to be a tipping point. And so I kind of feel like we're there. I kind of feel like this is the opportunity. This is the situation where you can make the change, because you have a bye week that gives you 2 weeks. That gives you 1 week of tape. So you have 1 week of Trey actually doing it against one of the most formidable defenses in the league right now. And then you have that tape. You can marinate it, pick it apart for a week, and then focus on the Colts for a week. So I really think the time is now to start developing Trey Lance. I understand it's going to be very difficult for Jimmy and what that means for Jimmy, but we knew that going into the season. We knew. Like, I sat here after training camp practice saying, I don't see a separation. I see two quarterbacks playing inconsistently, but one has a ceiling that's up here, and the one other over here only throws checkdown passes. So at a certain point, we have to move forward. I think we gave Jimmy Garoppolo a shot. I think we did. And a valiant shot. All the opportunity. But with how the season is going, the unrest amongst the fan base, and all the potential that Trey Lance just showed us against a really good team, I have a hard time. I have a hard time seeing how you put Pandora back in the box. So, like, what happens then when Jimmy's starting again and he throws a bad pick, a Jimmy pick, because they're becoming very consistent. I think that's the problem, is that his mistakes are becoming consistent mistakes. So, again, we don't have to argue about this. We can talk about it. We can lay out all the information and we can decide whether we think it should be Jimmy or whether we think it should be Trey. If you think it should be Jimmy, I get it. I understand why you think it's probably going to be Jimmy. Like, you probably are thinking like he puts us in a better position because he's a veteran. He's going to control the ball a little bit better, get more in and out of our standard offense, do things like that, which I understand. But I think at a certain time, we also have to recognize that Trey Lance is the future of this team. And how long are we going to put that off? Because what I saw on Sunday in Trey Lance's first NFL game is that he can handle this. Is it going to be beautiful? Is it going to be perfect? No, it won't. He's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. They're called rookie mistakes for a reason. But at the same time, when the rookie and the veteran are playing at a consistency level of about the same in regards to turnovers, but one substantially stresses the defense much more than the other, that's where I start to lean towards Trey Lance. Brittany Brown says design running plays were bad. You don't want your QB number 2 hurt. We have running backs in Mitchell Sermon. Let them run. This is what they do. Trey can run and scramble to create the pocket when he breaks down. Yeah, this is a whole nother conversation about play calling and what Kyle was doing and why he was doing it. Again, I covered training camp. I was at training camp. Before I got there, I had Jordan Elliott and Jason Aponte there as well. They filled me in on what was happening. And then I got there. I spent over 10, 11 days at training camp. There's 2 offenses. There was 2 offenses. And guess which one they ran? They ran Jimmy's offense. And then when Trey gets in against the Cardinals, they run this like spread, like scheme that has nothing to do with what they practiced in training camp or ran or did. It's like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. What are we doing? So I guess maybe this is time to get into the coaching part. I think Brittany, I think you are shepherding us. I think you're shepherding us into the coaching conversation because I think it needs to be had. There's a lot of concern with the play calling. Luke's got something on the play calling. Luke says Kyle isn't going to show off the cards up his sleeve he's got for the next season. This season's struggles or success weren't meant for him. They are designed for Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree that they went into this offseason implementing and designing a scheme around Jimmy Garoppolo and not around Trey Lance. That's why when Trey Lance gets in, why are we operating a scheme that he hasn't been really practicing or repping unless they thought they could get that together in about a week? I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. And again, this is again to get us a really good transition into the coaching conversation. It's a really good transition to get into the coaching conversation. One of the reasons why I felt like Trey Lance was a really strong pick at the end of the day when I went back and, got my hands on the all 22 from South Dakota, and me and Jordan Elliott are staying up until like butt crack of dawn watching Trey Lance tape and just freaking out, because what we came to love about Trey Lance in the pre-draft process is his ability to work under center, his ability to execute play action, his ability to play from a pro style scheme that looked just like what Kyle executed in 2019. So my biggest questions and red flags come from why are we deviating? What is happening? Why aren't we doing that plus a little bit of what Trey Lance can't do? Why are we taking him out of? Why are we eliminating the run game? Why are we eliminating the chances for play action? Why are we running empty? Why are we running spread schemes? What are we doing? That's my thought process. Again, why are you running a scheme that you haven't had Trey Lance practicing for 2 months? And then you get 1 week to install a scheme, and that's what you install? Kyle, my guy, I love you. I love Kyle. Like, still, Kyle's my boy. Like, this isn't meant to be like a bag session or a rag session on my guy. We're just, I got questions. I have questions. If me and Kyle were in a room and he was like, you can shoot me any question you want, I'm gonna say, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? What are we what please just explain it to me so I can wrap my head around it. Because I can't wrap my head around it. I feel like I'm normally pretty good at looking at the million different perceptions and perspectives and trying to find the correct one, but I can't here. I can't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. Like again, why why are we doing something that necessarily doesn't fit the rest of the team yet? Like, again, there's a lot of conversation about the offensive line, and rightfully so. But like I said, I haven't done the study. And so far, there have been 2 games where I was going to go into the tape thinking the offensive line didn't do a great job. And I came out of both of those games being like, well, actually, the offensive line did a good job. Running backs weren't finding their running lanes. Running backs weren't reading their blocks correctly. Quarterbacks were holding the ball for too long. Quarterbacks are not hitting their first and second reads with timing when they should have. There's all kinds of things going on with this offense that doesn't just mean the offensive line is playing bad. The offensive line is affected by quarterback play, running back play, and wide receiver play. If wide receivers aren't getting open on timing, that affects how long the quarterback holds the ball. If the quarterback is holding the football, that means there's a higher chance he's going to get sacked. The offensive lines are only supposed to block for 2.5 seconds, guys. 2.5 seconds. Do we understand this? Offensive linemen only are supposed to hold blocks for 2.5 seconds, and quarterbacks and coaches know this. So fans, I think, should be able to know this as well. 2.5 seconds isn't a very long time, guys. It's not a long time. All right. So, like, there's levels to this. There are so many levels to this. Tommy says, why so many plays from shotgun? No, I don't know. I felt like Elijah Mitchell was doing a phenomenal job. I felt like Elijah Mitchell's, God, what a steal. Haven't even talked about Elijah Mitchell yet. Elijah Mitchell was balling. I mean, when I talk about running backs helping their offensive line, that's Elijah Mitchell. That's JaMychal Hasty. That's Raheem Mostert. Set up your blocks. The blocks are there, but it is up to the running backs to set them up properly. Like that, there's a huge level to blocking that is the responsibility goes to the running back. If you see an offensive lineman trying to get inside leverage on a guy, like to the left, and the running back bounces it out to the right and he gets tackled by my guy, that is on the running back. That is not on me. That is not on me. He didn't run to his spot. He didn't run to where he was going. He didn't understand my leverage, and he didn't read his block properly, and he got his ass tackled. That's on the running back. That ain't on me. So there's a lot of that going on. Let me get these up before they disappear on me. Where are the plays that Kyle Shanahan drew up for Lance after attending Fields Pro Days? Apparently we saw that. Apparently we saw that against the Cardinals. We are not running football with 20 minutes left on the. Yeah. I agree. I I think again, I love my guy Kyle. I love Kyle. But what are we doing? Maybe I'm missing something. I would love to know. You could tell me. I won't tell anyone. That's a lie. I'll tell everyone. Cap says, did you see Buda Baker's comments on Trey Lance after the game? Credit him as the reason it was a close game. Kyle needs to embrace him now. I saw those comments. And I think that's a lot of what I was talking about in regards to who do we stick with. And I think you have to stick with, again, the future and the guy who's going to stress defenses. Right now, Jimmy Garoppolo is not stressing defenses. He's not holding them with their eyes. He does that on occasion. On occasion, he does. He does. Not all the time. Not all the time. So I think the biggest thing, honestly, when I take a step back and I look at this game, I look at the game plan, I look at how everything transpired from an offensive play call situation. Again, I can't tell you about the O-line yet. You guys know I reserve my thoughts on the O-line until I watch every snap multiple times. I want to know what's going on with the O-line. So I'm going to wait. On the surface, yeah, they didn't play great. I saw a couple of my boys get whooped. That's going to happen when you're going up against J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. I just want to know the hows and the whys. I want to know the hows and the whys because there's so much context, like I said. So I'm going to wait before I start doling out praise or critiques on the O-line. Okay? But I get it. It wasn't on the surface the best performance, but there's a lot more that goes into evaluating O-line than just that. I really think a lot of it's tough, man. It's tough because again, at the end of the day, right? We want to why, how do we move forward? What are we doing? What are we going to do? Why are we here? I think it really all comes down to just how this whole situation has played out since January 1st. Since Deshaun Watson started commenting on George Kittle fan pages posts, before Kyle was trying to get Matthew Stafford. I think it all started then, and I think we're dealing with the weird like trickle down effect of that insanely weird offseason to now. It just feels like there's no definitive anything again, and I think it's designed to be that way. I think it's designed to be murky. I think it's designed for them to like be able to move and shake as they need to. But I feel like as a result of that, a lot of that has come back and transpired with a lot of negative energy. And it's just not vibing well. The vibe around the offense is not good. Not good at all. Justin says, does Jimmy give the Niners a better chance of winning than Lance does coming off the bye week? Oh, this is such a tough question, in my opinion. It's a really tough question. Because all right, well, let's think about it. Let's think about it now. Let's really dive in. All right. So perceived issues right now, offensive line being able to hold their blocks for more than 2.5 seconds. Okay. I would say some of Jimmy's perceived issues, at least some of some that I've tracked and noticed on tape, is his processing, the timing, the ability to find his reads, hit them with timing. He's good sometimes, not great all the time. So now you look at the defense. Who's right there on that interior? Oh, we got DeForest Buckner. You guys remember DeForest? You guys remember DeForest? Now, what is the easiest way to make quarterbacks flustered? Pressure up the interior. So, that being said, it really feels like a situation. It really feels like a situation where I would be. I mean, I get it. If they go back to him, okay, they go back to him. He's the starter. That's what they've been doing and operating and actually been following through with. So if that's what they do, I get it. I just don't see a situation where you essentially swap Jimmy Garoppolo for Trey Lance yesterday, and there's a situation where Jimmy does any better. I almost felt like Jimmy would have got murdered in that game. So would Trey, but Trey has that extra ability and pocket awareness and ability to get out the pocket. So I'm again, I'm reserving my full offensive line critiques at the moment, but I'll be able to say that it didn't appear that they were holding their their blocks long enough or to the leverage that they needed to. So that meant that Trey had to move and had to get out and had to bail. Um, and so if that is the trend, then if you're putting Jimmy in, then I see a situation where Jimmy's getting destroyed. Like we know Jimmy's a statue. Jimmy Jimmy just stands in the pocket, and that's fine because he's able to move and so, for the most part find his reads and do what he needs to do um, from the pocket. But I just saw a situation if Jimmy was back there against the Cardinals, the score wouldn't have been 10-17. I think you would have had similar situations with turnovers, but I really think he would have got sacked a lot more. I really think, and that's not a fault to Jimmy necessarily in that specific instance. Um, when you don't have the time, um, what are you going to do? So this is why this is why I didn't want this. This is exactly why. This is exactly why in training camp, or actually going back to January, if this was it. This is how I felt back in January. If the 49ers are moving on from, thank you, Chris, I appreciate that. If the 49ers are moving on from Jimmy Garoppolo, then move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I really feel like it has created this entire dynamic and energy and momentum and weird ass stuff because they kept Jimmy and they kept Trey under the guise of Kyle really wanted Jimmy. I don't think he did. Jimmy or Kyle is like that's why we you got to watch what Kyle says. Kyle said he gave the reasons why they decided to move on from Jimmy, yet now Jimmy's still the quarterback. I think it's creating issues in the locker room. I think it's creating issues with continuity. Um, again, you have two different schemes. You have two different scenarios. It just feels weird. It feels weird. It's felt weird. It hasn't stopped being weird. And so again, why is the offense not clicking? Why does the offense not have an identity? Are we a spread team? Are we a run first team? Are we West Coast? Are we air raid? What are we? What are we? Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. I just feel like it's a lose-lose situation. It's just what is it? What are we? Who are we? What do we do? What do we do good? What do we do bad? What are we? What are we at this point? So I think that's where we're at. We're headed into week 6 bye. We're headed into week 6 bye, and we don't know. We don't know what this offense is. We know the defense is serviceable. We know the defense is pretty damn good, and we know the defense is going to give us opportunities to win games. They kept Kyler Murray DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, Rondell Moore to 17 points. That's fantastic. Great job, defense. Like at a certain point, like what are we gonna do? Who are we? I thought the whole reason we went with Trey Lance is because he has the ability to execute the offense that Kyle wants plus more. Not a new offense, not RG3 style offense. Like again, Trey Lance didn't run the offense in college that we saw yesterday. So that's a new offense for Trey Lance. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? The offense we saw yesterday, Trey Lance didn't run that in college. We didn't see Trey Lance didn't do that in college. He didn't. Oh man, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. All right, let me get caught up. Let me get caught up. So, again, we've kind of funneled towards Kyle. We kind of funneled towards Kyle. I think Kyle, and I've been saying this all year, right? I've been saying this all year. Um, Starting, what was it, week 1 against Detroit? No, it actually started, I think, started against the Eagles. It started against the Eagles. The conversation started against Detroit, but there's no rhythm. There's no rhythm. Trey was under center, but not a lot. He really wasn't. He wasn't. So a lot of these issues that we're seeing with this team, in my opinion, strive from the offensive side of the football. I think the defense is doing a pretty damn good job considering they're decimated with cornerback depth. They lost Dre Greenlaw. They're doing their job. The 49ers defense is doing their job. And I think they're getting frustrated. I think that's something important to remember. And I want to give you guys some insight a little bit into this because I don't think people really wrap their minds around this too much. But offenses and defenses, they're like their own team. They're like their own individual, like how let's say in the business world you have departments and things like that are siloed. Well, just like that, like in that situation, offense and defense are pretty siloed. They have offensive and defensive meetings. They have their own goals. They have their own what they're trying to focus on and stop. Of course, they have team meetings and they interact and all those kinds of things. But when it comes to like the actual like goal, they're pretty siloed in regards to executing what they want to do. And I think the defense is getting pretty frustrated. I think the defense is like come on, at a certain point, right? We're doing our end of the bargain. We're doing our job. We're doing it to the best of our ability based on the injuries, but we have like why can't we get the offense to execute with a quarterback who's been here for 4 years and a coach who's been here for 5? And that's why I think it's like they tested it through 4 games or 3.5 games. That's why I just really feel like you got to make a decision and you just have to go with the new guy. I think we tried it and I don't think it worked. And I think we're at a tipping point right now in regards to that decision. And they have to just rip the Band-Aid off. Because I guarantee you, if they go back to Jimmy, Trey will play this year and he will start. And Jimmy most likely will get benched. And like, do we want to go through that? Like, do we want to go through that mid-year? Like we keep pushing off, or do we just do it? Do we just do it? Luke says Jimmy starts, book it. I like it. Easy says Kyle ran Lance 16 times, Mitchell 9 times, Sermon once. Why is Travis Benjamin starting over Ayuk. Kyle, where's Jawan Jennings? Why didn't he play? Yeah, I would say um, that's another situation that is interesting. Um, the usage of them. I think the Ayuk usage, as we know, like again, we talked about this since day one. Brandon Ayuk is in some form of a doghouse. He's not doing. It's either he's not executing to the level that they're requiring from him. Um, I don't know. There's again, Kyle's essentially the receivers coach. So is it weird? Is it weird that the two positions that Kyle is the most entangled with are having the most struggles? Like, so I don't know. Ayuk is probably the most physically gifted wide receiver on this team. Yeah, he's not being used. Why is Travis Benjamin getting targets? I have no idea. I yelled this out. At the TV when they threw the ball to Travis Benjamin. I audibly yelled. Again, I watched the game with my kids and my wife, and I yelled at the TV. Like, I'm not a big, loud person when it comes to watching games. I'm pretty subdued and quiet. I yelled at the TV. I said, I said, why are you throwing Travis Benjamin the ball? Why? 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 Because Brandon isn't blocking well enough at a certain point. Just get over it, man. Just get over it and get the playmakers the ball. Maybe if he gets the ball more, maybe he'll block better. Maybe. Maybe try the reverse of the psychology that you're implementing, because guess what? It's 2021 and not everyone these days is subscribes to the doghouse mentality. Um, I think more so these days that does more damage than good, because you know why? Because people are more mentally aware. People are more aware of sports psychology. They're more aware of psychology in general. They understand the cause and the effects. They get it. They want to be tapped in more. So the old school go sit in a corner until you show me you're better. That doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. Um, it hasn't worked. Like look at Kyle's history of players who went into the doghouse. How many came out? How many came out on the other side? So at what point are we going to look at the situation and say this just isn't being managed properly, which falls in line with I think how this whole offseason has been trending towards is why are we doing this? Why is that happening? Why is this again? We're not in the building. We're not in these meetings. I'm sure there's reasons. I'm sure there's logical reasons for all of it, but we don't know. So we speculate based on the information that we do have. And what the information that we do have is Brandon Ayuk is probably the best wide receiver on this team from an overall physical standpoint. That might not mean he's there mentally or has the playbook fully grasped, but he's the best wide receiver on this team. And Deebo Samuel's balling the hell out. And he's really damn good too. But same thing with Deebo. Deebo points to how difficult it is to grasp the offense. He talked about being terrified of Kyle. Like, listen, not everyone responds that way. They don't. So it is what it is. If we want to kind of assign blame, look at the again, I look at the coaching. And coaching to me is supposed to put players in the best chance to be successful. And then the players go execute. I don't feel like this offense has been put into the best position to be successful, although I think they've been able to be able to overcome it and play well in spots. I really don't think they're operating at a level that they want to be operating. I would say they are not to their standard. And at this point, we don't know what that standard is because with I think the loss of Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, that hurts a lot. It hurts a lot and has clearly impacted the way the offense runs. Um, but at a certain point, we still have to find an identity within that and find an identity. And I don't know. Like, are we trying to run the ball? Are we trying to throw the ball? Or what are we trying to do here? Because, like I said, I think Elijah Mitchell ran fantastically. I talked about this on Twitter a little bit as well. When you have a running back like Trey Sermon, who clearly needs reps to develop, and you saw him make strides from the Green Bay game to the Seattle game. And you saw a lot of it was patience, reading his blocks, reading cutback lanes, and all that kind of stuff comes with with experience, reps. And one of my favorite things about Trey Sermon, and he shows he's very hard to tackle. He's very hard to tackle. And just really, really would like to see him more involved. One carry for 7, not in love with that usage. 9 carries for Elijah Mitchell, not in love with that usage. Kyle's offense looking worse than Jimmy Ray 49ers. Oh, I mean, it hasn't been good. It hasn't. It hasn't been good with Jimmy. I wouldn't say that it was great yesterday either. Was like we can both be objective. Again, we're the sourdough squad. We are a unit. We stick together. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to be a part of this divide and it's either this quarterback or that quarterback or it's this coach has got to like we don't have to be a part of that. We can just talk about it all. We can lay it out there and we can make our own decisions together and we don't have to come together with the same thoughts either, but if we all looked at how the offense has looked with Jimmy Garoppolo, again, the context is 4 year fourth year in this offense for Jimmy Garoppolo, 5th year with the 49ers for Kyle Shanahan. Going into this year with a loaded offensive line, regardless if you lose Mostert or regardless if you lost Jeff Wilson, the offensive line was performing really well at the beginning of the year. You had great weapons when everyone was healthy and a healthy Kittle. But even then, the offense didn't look that great. You saw glimpses of it against the Detroit Lions, but what was the problem against the Detroit Lions? They weren't able to be consistent. They weren't able to be consistent for 4 quarters. And so that became the rallying cry. Be consistent for 4 quarters. So against Philly, they came out flat for an entire half and then were able to put it together in the second half. But again, the rallying cry was get in rhythm early, play your game. Same thing happened against Green Bay. And then we come out against Cardinals, have one good drive, and fall apart. So what is this offense? What are we? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to do at this stage? S Sirs 11. Why don't we go deep at all? Regardless of what QB is under center, if you don't like Kyle's play, audible and change it. I agree. Again, I think you got to take a shot every now and again to keep defenses honest, to keep the safeties off the line. Luke has the plan. Luke says Jimmy Garoppolo, Wilson, Mitchell, Sermon, Hasty plus defense equals the plan. What about the wide receivers, though? We're just going to run the ball? What about the wide receivers? So, again, I think that's part of the battle is, with what we've seen, with whatever quarter, it doesn't matter. Like whatever quarterback. The defenses are matching the point. I think the point of what I'm trying to say is doesn't matter the quarterback, doesn't matter the weapons, doesn't matter. The defenses are matching our scheme. Does that make sense? I think that's what I'm trying to collect my thoughts and say is that it doesn't matter if this is a Jimmy Garoppolo led team or a Trey Lance led team. The defense seems to have a pretty good insight into what we're doing, at least more specifically around the Jimmy Garoppolo scheme. Now, with the Trey Lance scheme, I think we're all trying to wrap our heads around, like, what is it? Like, is it really going to be a situation where we load up our rookie quarterback and expect him to run the football 16 times a game and throw for 25 and just put everything on him and run an empty set? And that's what we're going to do? Or are we going to get back to scheming? Are we going to get back to like putting defenses on their heels? I don't feel like I've gotten that sense. I don't know if you guys have. Again, this is regardless of the quarterback. I don't know if you guys have gotten the sense that defenses are like scared of us, or like they don't know what we're doing. They are playing exactly to what we're doing. And that is the most terrifying thing of it all. And because of that, I'm seeing a team not pivot off of what defenses are trying to stop, which becomes even more terrifying. So I'm like, I don't know. Again, I've been following this whole thing since Mobile, Alabama, when I caught wind, when Javier Vega called me and said they're after Stafford. Was like 11 o'clock at night, and the whole Stafford stuff started. Since before that, even Deshaun Watson, it's just weird. It's just a weird situation. G Greasy says Trey was exciting. I was excited like I used to be when Cappy was running around for us. Jimmy's return would just suck the air out of the room, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Man. Sourdough Brian wants to know what time tomorrow. Probably around 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. It's kind of the sweet spot for the Sourdough Squad. But yeah, when it comes down to whether it's a Jimmy offense or Trey offense, the lack of run game is concerning. The lack and the ability to get the run game going, again, regardless of who's that running back. I just feel like there's not a consistent and concerted effort to really hammer home the run game so that you can execute play action off of it. Now, did Trey Lance execute play action on Sunday? He did. He went under center. He turned his back to the defense and executed the play. Now, I want to see more of that from Trey Lance. I want to see more emphasis on running the football. I want to see more Trey Lance under center. I want to see more play action, and then sprinkle in the zone read. That's kind of where I'm at. It's like, well, if we've had Trey Lance operating Jimmy Garoppolo's offense for this entire year, why aren't we doing that and then sprinkling in the spread elements and the zone read elements and the RPO elements? That's kind of, I would like to see it be more of a gradual thing, if that makes sense, rather than just full blown, we're a spread football team now and we're just going to open it up, let our quarterback, like the designed quarterback runs. I think there's a time and a place for them. I don't know. I think, but again, getting back to the whole situation is, I think Trey Lance did a really good job. Considering the circumstances. Deebo Samuel did a decent job, but he dropped some passes. I thought Juice continues to be a really strong piece for us in regards to blocking and doing all those kinds of things. Brandon Ayuk had a really, really good catch. Really good catch. Two good catches. What about that ball, though, to Ayuk? Can we talk about that? Like, that dart to Brandon Ayuk on the sideline. I think it was either out or a comeback. But Trey Lance let that thing rip on a line. And Ayuk was covered. As covered could be. And Trey Lance extends, puts it right in the bucket. It was amazing pass. And I think when we start talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, those are the types of passes that we haven't seen from Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think why a lot of the fan base is like, all right, like we're seeing that from a rookie in his first start ever. First start ever. And we've been now 3.5 games in with Jimmy Garoppolo, and we haven't seen that. And we don't even really see the attempt for it. Um, I broke down a play against the Eagles. Um, the result of the play was a dump down to Debo, but the actual play was essentially a singular route for Brandon Ayuk, and it was a deep comeback. And it was probably he ran at about 20 yards depth, and the way he run his route, and then was coming back. Well, guess what? Brandon Ayuk did what he does. He cooked. He cooked the DB and Jimmy Garoppolo, and there's a space probably about 15 yards on the under for a comeback, and all the sideline to work with. And Jimmy decided not to throw it, and he threw a check down to Debo Samuel that went for no yards. And you just watch that and you look at it and you're like, that is a play that is like a baseline throw, in my opinion, for an NFL quarterback. Like for a designed route that the wide receiver won, and yet the quarterback still chose not to throw the ball. It's like those are the things that consistently show up with Jimmy. Now, does he thread the needle when he needs to at times? He does. He throws accurate passes, makes good decisions. It's like it's the it's the scale of trying to compare a veteran who's been in the system for 4 years and a quarterback who just got his first NFL start. Um, it's lopsided in regards to comparison, but when you're seeing the things that are being done, it's like, well, I see a lot of promise from Trey Lance. Cap says Kyle is my guy, but his play calling this season has been suspect. I'd like to see him empower Sermon and Ayuk more. Too talented to not be on the field, and I agree. And this is what it comes down to. Again, whether you're a Lance guy, you're a Jimmy guy, or you're just a fire everyone guy, I think we can all agree that the play calling and the offensive rhythm, which starts with the head coach and who is the offensive coordinator, it hasn't been there. And I think that's a fair critique. I think that's a fair critique. And so it hasn't been there with Jimmy. I don't even think it was really there with Trey either. It just was odd. It just felt odd. So where do we go from here is the question, right? What do we do from here? Like I said, I really think that you don't put Pandora back in the box. Um, I I really don't. I think you ride with Jimmy. Sorry, let me reset. I think you ride with Trey. What a mistake that was. uh, I really think the 49ers should stick with Trey. That was a big part of what I felt in the offseason because, like I said, I watched Jimmy in training camp. I watched Trey in training camp day after day after day, and this is what we saw. This same thing. Like if you went back and you go watch the lives from training camp, this is literally what I talked about. I did this stupid thing with my hands too. Same thing with my hands. I did the same analogy and the thing with my hands. Luke said, "Your heart got it right, Brad." Oh my goodness, it's been a long day. It has absolutely been a long day. But again, I'll go back to what I said at training camp. This was during training camp after watching both. Jimmy Garoppolo was performing at a decent level, at a level you would expect of a 9-year veteran, of a guy who's been, I don't know if he's been in the league 9 years. I don't know if it's been that long, but a veteran quarterback who started multiple years in the NFL. And then you had a rookie who had been in practice for 6 days. And when I was watching them go back and forth, again, Jimmy is the only one running with the ones. Trey's running with the twos nonstop against a good our defensive line was destroying our second string offensive line quite a bit in training camp. Trey was making plays. Now, were there inconsistencies from Trey? Yes. But there were inconsistencies from Jimmy. They were equal inconsistency. But Jimmy wasn't challenging the ball downfield. And when he did, they did not turn out well. They were not good. To the point where you saw Debo throwing his crap. You saw Ayuk all pissed off. Like, it wasn't going well. And so when you look and you say, I have a rookie who can make all the throws, can be an asset with his legs, and do all these things. We paid the amount that we paid to get him, which is more of an outside circumstance than I think internal, to be perfectly honest. I think fans hold on to you traded this. I think fans really hold on to that a lot more than they do inside that building. But still, you traded a lot to get him. And when you see the two having the same inconsistencies, but one ceiling is way up here and makes bigger, more game-changing plays than this guy, it's like at a certain point, what are we judging this on? So I get it if they go back to Jimmy, but what does that mean? Does that mean you have a short leash? Does that mean Jimmy Garoppolo's looking over his shoulder left and right because Trey Lance is just waiting? The entire fan base has now officially seen what Trey Lance looks like. I would say a lot of people are ready for Trey Lance. I know, again, we pulled the chat, and the chat was pretty even. Or not wasn't pretty even, but there was a good representation for Jimmy. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's going to be, and this is why I didn't want this. This is why I wanted a dedicated quarterback going into training camp, because I feel like these questions and comments or questions with this fan base based on Jimmy's career, like it's a made for TV toxicity. Like we knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. And we're here. So now we got to deal with it. So how do we deal with it? How do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? How do we deal with a young rookie quarterback who needs time, who is electric, but he needs time. He needs time to marinate, and whether that's through experience or sitting, he still needs more time. But what are you going to do? You're going to go back to Jimmy? At a certain point, when do we give the young rookie the empowerment to be like, all right, you're the leader of this team, go out and lead it? Or is he gonna just keep playing the like, I don't want to step on Jimmy's toes, I don't want to step out and go too far over my skis, this is Jimmy's team? Like, creates a lot of awkwardness. I know for a fact this is an awkward situation inside that locker room, and was awkward before the season. You guys know I talk to players. You guys know I talk to people inside the organization. This was awkward before the season. Like, I'm talking to offensive players. They're like, I don't. they're like, don't ask me a single question about Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, don't do it. It's awkward. I don't want to talk about it. Like, I get it. Wasn't gonna ask you one. So it's awkward. Like, it's awkward. And we wanna look at, why is the offense not operating? Do you feel like that offensive unit feels unified with the plan? Do you think they feel unified in the plan? Because what is the plan? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Is it Trey Lance? When is it Trey Lance? Or is it back to Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, And people are we're humans. Human nature is to pick a side. It's it's not it's not seen as a what's the word? Like a good trait to ride the fence, right? You pick a side, you get one guy's back. And guess what? A lot of the leaders had Jimmy's back because that's their quarterback. They've been to war with this dude. They went to the Super Bowl with this dude. So that's what I think it is. I think it's just weird. I think it's been weird. And again, if Jimmy came out and was balling, I think it would be a lot less weird. I think it would. I really think it would. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo came out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 and was balling and playing good, hell, even a pick here or there. Even a pick here or there. That's fine. If he was showing Jimmy Garoppolo, that is, of, the steps up in his own development, I think it would be a lot more easy for everyone. But that's the problem, is Jimmy's playing kind of at that like subpar, looks good at times and then looks really bad at times, and it's like, and I think that makes it awkward. Because it's like, we see Jimmy. I see Jimmy against Green Bay in the second half. I'm like, there's Jimmy. There he is. There's the guy that we're looking for. But then you go back, or you get the first drive against Seattle, like, there's Jimmy. There's the Jimmy we want. And then after that, you're like, what the hell, man? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if Jimmy was playing well, like, not that he's playing terrible, but if he was playing consistently well, I feel like this would be less awkward, less more of a situation, where people can see with their eyes and be like, Jimmy is the better quarterback. That's why Jimmy's playing. That makes sense. We can wrap our heads around that. I think the problem is you see what Trey is, you see what Trey's capable of, you see the ceiling, and then you start comparing it to Jimmy, and you're like, well, is it really that different? And we understand that if we get Trey going now, that we're just shaving off time of his overall development. So what's the goal here? Are we trying to develop Trey, or are we trying to just squeeze everything we can get out of Jimmy and hamper our young quarterback's development? Because I already think they've done that. I already think they've made it really difficult, much more difficult on this rookie than it needs to be. So that's the question, right? That's the question. As we look forward, now it's just a bunch of me rambling. So clearly, this was a big episode. A lot of conversation around the quarterback, of course. A lot of conversation around Kyle Shanahan as the play caller. And I think that's where this team's success from here on out starts and stops. Starts with Kyle and the quarterback, whichever one it is. It's those two together. That's a tripod right now, and this tripod needs to figure it out. And we will talk about, well, who's responsible, who's accountable. It's Kyle. This is Kyle's team. Kyle's the head coach. Kyle's the offensive coordinator. He is the end all be all in this entire situation. So he gets a lot of credit for a lot of things that he did in the past, but he also gets a lot of credit for what's happening right now, good or bad. I'm a Kyle guy. I think Kyle can figure this out. I think he can do this. But I think the muddiness with the quarterback position is throwing everyone off. It is throwing everyone. It's throwing fans. It's throwing players. It's throwing coaches. It's throwing everyone off. So that's why I feel like there needs to be some definitive action. And again, we heard what Kyle said. He said if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, he'd be starting, which also indicates that he is probably going to start against the Colts. So what does that mean? What does that mean for us? What are we looking forward to? Like, what happens if he comes out and has a bad game again? Or just yanking him and then putting Trey back in again, not developing Trey all week to be the starter, not putting and building everything around Trey just to thrust him in to the middle of a game in the future. Like, the whole reason why why Kyle Shanahan said they went and got Trey Lance was because of injury, because Jimmy Garoppolo has a really hard time staying healthy. Okay. So we're just going to keep putting Jimmy Garoppolo out there and he just keeps getting hurt and we just keep being out of rhythm and not committing and running two schemes. Like, I think you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. I think if the 49ers were to go with Trey Lance, it's more definitive. It's more like tactical. It's more, it just like, it ends the speculation. You know what I mean? Like, it just ends it. And I think the speculation has been the thing that has been ripping this team apart from the inside out. So at a certain point, I really believe you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what do we value? Do we value the right now and this year? Do we think based on this play that we're producing that we're going to the Super Bowl? Do we? I don't. I don't look at this offense and have any faith that, like, how it's operating now. The faith comes from it can all be corrected. That's where the faith comes from. But if they're going to operate how they've operated through the first 5 weeks, this is what we're going to see. We're going to see the 49ers fall short by one score because they weren't able to get it going for an entire quarter and a half, because they weren't able to get the points on the board when they needed to. They overstressed the defense early. Special teams isn't pulling it together. Like, this is what we're going to see all year. So what do we do? Do we just do that? And again, hamper the future of our franchise, which is Trey Lance? Or do we just decide it's time? It's time. We gave Jimmy Garoppolo 4 opportunities. Not only wasn't he didn't play, I would say, to the best of his ability, but on top of not playing to the best of his ability, he got hurt. The whole reason why they traded for Trey Lance. So again, are you going to put Jimmy back in to potentially just get hurt again, which again takes away starting practice reps? There's 2 offenses. Remember, there's 2 offenses. So every time you're starting Jimmy, you're taking away developmental time from Trey. I think people need to start recognizing this. Every time you start Jimmy, you're taking away developmental time from Trey, because what is Trey doing? Trey is running scout team. Trey is out there running, pretending to be Carson Wentz, not running his offense that is clearly different than Jimmy's, but the only thing they've been operating is Jimmy's. Do you get what I'm saying? You get the point? Like, that doesn't mean Jimmy's terrible. Doesn't mean Jimmy is no good. Doesn't mean Jimmy, like, can't be a starter in this league. But this we can't pretend anymore. Like, we can't pretend. What are we pretending? This is Trey Lance's team. Even if Jimmy goes out and starts, this is still Trey Lance's team. Man, it might not be Trey Lance's team this year, but this is Trey Lance's team. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. So there's a million different angles. There's a million different points that we can look at. But again, what is the what are we locked on? Are we locked on now? Are we locked on the future? The future. Which one? Which one are we doing? So it is what it is. I've been going for a long time. I've missed you guys. Obviously I wasn't able to stream for a week. But I'm back and I'm happy to be back. Happy to chop it up with you guys. I want to look at you guys, let you guys drive the conversation for a little bit. Questions, comments, um, points, let me know in the chat. I'll bring it up and we can talk about it. Luke Luna says Trey Lance sat for a year and got better for it. Have faith. I mean, Luke, bro. Okay, so this is one of the things. This is completely separate than anything we've talked about, but it's been a talking point on Twitter. Is the mechanics, right? So again, I'll tell you guys, I'm big into the draft. I've gone down this whole road before, but we'll refresh. I started scouting quarterbacks week 5 of 2020. Week 5, that was my Dolphins game. I knew, guys, I'm a big vibe guy. I scout. I don't know if that's because I played football for so many years that I'm able to, like, I know the vibe that these guys are feeling based on body language. So I knew Jimmy and Shanahan during that game. That was over. I started scouting not Trey Lance, Justin Fields right then and there. Week 5 of last year. I knew it was wraps. I knew that vibe wasn't great. And shout out the chat, bro. Shout out you guys. You guys have been phenomenal. Sourdough Squad has been phenomenal today. I really mean it. Like, again, this is a hard topic. This is a topic that's dominated 49er fans front of the thought process for 8-9 months. Like I'm telling you now, this dominated my thought process since week 5 of 2020. But you guys are doing a great job in the chat. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the back and forth. I feel like the chat is like the lifeblood of this show. Sourdough Squad, the fam. You guys are doing a really good job. I know it's a hard subject. A lot of people got a lot of battle wounds over this subject, and I recognize that and I understand that. But we're trying to do our best to just remember, stick together. We're the Sourdough Squad for a reason. And we can disagree and have, Luke's one of my favorite guys on here. And he's adamant that it's going to be Jimmy while I'm here saying it's Trey. And I love that. And I love how Luke's commenting and continuing to work through it. That's the exact vibe of the Sourdough Squad. And I really do appreciate it. The chat has been fantastic today. It really has. And we know it's been tough, man. We're all upset. We're all hurt. We're all 49er fans. We all want to see this team be successful and do well. So I get it. And I appreciate everyone being really patient throughout this. I really do. But what Luke was saying was, I was trying to get into some of the mechanics. So again, I started scouting Trey in November. I started scouting Trey in November. I started scouting Justin about a month or two earlier. But like I said, I was scouting Justin in real time. Like I was watching the games, then watching them back. Trey didn't have any. I was watching old 2019 tape. So Trey Lance works with Quincy Avery, Coach McElroy out of Atlanta. And I've always been connected to like a lot of these trainers. just because we post a lot of off-season content from trainers. So we develop a lot of really good relationships with these players' trainers. And so all throughout the off-season, McAvoy, thank you. And I know you guys have actually interviewed him. Um, but I think it was around January once we really understood that we're getting a quarterback, and I was the rookie quarterback guy. I didn't want to trade for Deshaun. I love Deshaun, too expensive. Didn't want Sam Darnold. Like I didn't want to trade for any veteran. I wanted a rookie. I really did. And so when I started my process of scouting Trey Lance, I have a connection with Coach McAvoy, or however the hell you say it, and I would just drop into his DMs because I was watching tape of Trey Lance, and I would say, "Hey, I noticed this little technique thing where maybe the ball didn't come out like it should have, considering how much arm strength I know this kid has. I see the ball dying on him. Like, what is that about?" And that spawned a huge dialogue of back and forth about everything that they've been working on since October, what they were trying to do to limit some of his elongated throwing motions. One of the biggest things is the bounce in his hitch. He bounces out of his hitch. They were trying to eliminate that. They're trying to eliminate that. They wanted it to be nice and flat. Um, but so I'm talking with him, trying to get a baseline understanding of what they were working on from his technique and what they're trying to execute from October to March, or to May when the draft was. And then Trey Lance steps into the 49ers facility, and they retool his mechanics again. So I found that to be very interesting that from October to May, Trey Lance was working his mechanics a certain way. Then same thing. It even made national news. But I saw it. I saw it. It was the training reps when Trey Lance was throwing. It was after OTAs when Trey Lance was throwing to Sanu in Georgia. I because I looked at his drop back, and his hitch was way more compact, and it was way like he tried to take a lot of the wasted motion out of it. And I jumped back into his trainer's DMs again. I'm like, am I seeing this right? Am I seeing you guys like completely took out the hitch or the bounce in his hitch? And he went on to explain, yeah, we're trying to eliminate all that kind of stuff and do all that kind of stuff. But the point of what I'm saying and what Luke is saying is I don't know if that helped him. I don't know if working on your mechanics for an entire offseason and then you take one step into OTAs and the head coach says you need to change your mechanics again. Um, I feel like that's a lot. I feel like this is an underrated thing about his throwing motion and all of that kind of stuff. Is when you saw him in the Seattle game, all his mechanics went to hell. They were like, because he was in his head, he was playing off nerves, playing off adrenaline. That's typically what happens, especially like if I'm an offensive lineman and I'm nervous and I'm in my nerves, my technique is the first thing to go. And I need technique to be successful. So that's one of the things that we're trying to quantify is that his nerves, when he is nervous, his technique is going to be the first thing that slips. It's going to be the first thing that gets sloppy. I think it was sloppy in the Seahawks game, but I felt like he came back against the Cardinals and really refined the technique. Now it was still a little long in certain spots, but I felt like it came back to um, normal against the Cardinals. And so I feel like that translates into his ability to settle down. But the whole point of what Luke is saying is maybe it was good for him to sit for that whole year. And I don't know if it was, because I'm looking at a guy, at least against the Seahawks, and that dude's technique was all over the place. Like it looked like he didn't know. Like it looked like he was a mess. Um, and like I said, when like I try to tell people this when it comes to pass setting technique, kick steps, being able to hold your balance in that backwards momentum as a very large human. It's very difficult. It took me an entire year to master that technique myself. Now, I wasn't a super quick developmental guy. I needed time to develop. I needed reps. I needed to do it a million times to get it right. So the whole point of what I was saying is I think Trey's been pulled in a bunch of different directions in regards to his mechanics, in regard to what he should be, what he should do, and all that kind of stuff. And under that umbrella of a lot of stuff still being new to him, I think he's doing a damn good job. I think he's doing a good job. Um, and what we're looking at is baseline Trey Lance. I think the worst we could imagine Trey Lance to really look like is against the Cardinals. Or I'm sorry, against the Seahawks. And you saw the improvement just from 1 week going from being thrown into the fire to then maybe actually having some time to prepare, and just how from that transition he got better and his mechanics became more refined and he became more calm and he became more open to seeing the field. Now that's part of my process of why he should start and why he should keep starting, keep developing good habits. I don't want to take my young raw prospect and just have juggling him like this. Like, oh, he's starting this week. Oh no, it's Jimmy this week. Oh, like I don't want that. I don't want that. So there's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot here. There's a lot. There's a lot here. Oh, there's a lot here. Yeah, I'm still going, Cap. I told you. I told you guys. I haven't been on live. I haven't been on live for a week and a half. Or no, not a week and a half. A week. So I miss you guys. I miss you guys a lot. Um, but like I said, what else you guys got? I keep going on tangents. My fault, guys. My fault. I keep going on tangents. I have a lot to say, obviously. Um, I see. Stop blaming it on Kyle. I mean, again, this isn't. We're not trying to blame anyone. This isn't a blame show. This is an accountability show, and um, you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable. All right, who's this weirdo in this chat? Bodola, my guy. I've been trying to let you vibe out on your own vibe here for a second, but I'm sorry. You got to go. You're annoying as hell. Goodbye. Man, what a weirdo. All right. So it is it's a weird situation. So we're not blaming anyone, but someone has to be accountable. Someone has to take responsibility. We are adults here, aren't we? If you were a manager or a director or a VP of a department, you understand how that works. There's layers. You are responsible for the group. When the president comes up to you and says, I'm looking at your numbers here. What's going on? Why aren't you guys performing? Is he talking directly to the sales, or is he talking to the VP? He's talking to the VP. VP out there selling. VP's not selling, but he's scheming. He's putting his sales guys in a position to be successful. He's giving them the good leads. Are they nurturing their clients properly? Like, are they following a system that works for everyone? So there's levels to it. I'm actually 14, Brad. So it is what it is. I just think they need to decide. I think they need to decide what they want to be. I think once they decide what they want to be, it'll go a little bit smoother. I think it'll go a little bit smoother. I have not checked Twitter. Oh, yep, there it is. Quarterback Trey Lance has a left knee sprain. Breaking news. God, this sucks. So this news just dropped. Trey Lance has a knee sprain. They're saying his availability for the Colts game is in doubt. So there you go. There you go. We got our answer. Could be a real seamless transition back to Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's go. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff here. All right. I'm making my post. Let me get them out. So Trey Lance has a knee sprain and his availability is in question, according to Matt Mayoko. 49ers quarterback. All right, let me get this posted and then I'll get back with you guys. 49ers quarterback Trey Lance has sprained his knee and his availability against the Colts is in question per Matt Mayoko. Pain. All I know is pain. All I see is pain. All I know is pain. All I know is pain. All I know is pain. It's just nothing but pain that I feel being a 49ers fan. Pain to quarterback Trey Lance has sprained his knee and his availability against the Colts is in question. Send post. All right. Again, sorry. I am in the middle of posting my updates. Not the update I wanted. Shout out, though, whoever said that. Who said that? Shout out whoever tipped me off, because my notifications are actually still silented from yesterday. Who was that? So again, we get a lot of people trolling in the chat that will say some news broke or whatever. And a lot of the times they're trolling. So I'm very, very conscious of who I listen to in the chat when someone says some information. But I do want to give credit to my guy because he alerted me that they just reported that Trey Lance has an injury. I don't know why I can't see it. Where is it? Whoever it was, I appreciate you. You alerted me. Someone in the chat alerted me. Appreciate you. I don't know why I can't find it. I just wanted to pull you up, give you a pat on the back because I appreciate it. But I don't know why I can't find it. Damn it. Oh, well. Appreciate it, whoever said that. So, all right. So I guess, do we transition now into the conversation? Should we reset the conversation? Should we reset it as who's going to be starting against the Colts? Dude, Sudfeld. Are we going to start Sudfeld? Sudfeld, Dart? Anyone? And guess what? So this is what my comments are already pouring in with. Nice, Kyle. Good job, Kyle. Thanks, Kyle. Are we cursed? Tank for a new coach. Kyle's fault for running him as a running back. Like, again, it's just I talked about the reasoning, like why are we running the offense that we ran? Why aren't we putting him under center? Why aren't we running play action? Why aren't we trying to get the freaking running backs the damn ball? Why? Again, go back to North Dakota State. Go back to North Dakota. Well, we're playing to his strengths. That dude won a national championship in the FCS. I don't care what level it was, under center, under center, play action, handing the ball off, turning his back to the defense. He did not, he was not successful running spread schemes. He was not successful moving like a running back. They used him in very specific ways. Specific ways at North Dakota State. Not like they used him yesterday. So again, what are we doing? What are we doing? I love you, Kyle. I love you. Please don't hate me forever. If you, for whatever reason, come across any of my lives, which I doubt it, but please don't hate me. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. Like, I know you're smart football. I know you're a smart football coach. I know you know what you're doing. I know there's got to be a plan, but like I don't understand. Like the whole reason why like we thought you were going for Trey Lance was not because he could run every other play, not because he could run 16 times a game. Who is saying Trey Lance should be running 16 times a game? No one. No one. No one. Like, why is Elijah Mitchell running 9 times a game? 43 yards on 9 carries? Give him the ball more. Again, okay. So here's something that I haven't even touched on. Here's something I haven't even touched on about the whole scheme thing and like why it's a head scratcher. And we talked about the offensive line struggling, right? And I didn't get too deep into it because like I said, I haven't done a post-mortem. I haven't really done a deep dive. So I want to hold my critiques for when I see the hows and the whys because it matters. But Kyle Shanahan has drafted a run-first offensive line. Let me say that again. Kyle Shanahan has drafted a run-first offensive line that is predicated on running the football and run action on the offensive line. Let me explain run action on the offensive line. It's pass blocking, but it looks like run blocking. So again, the offensive line is still executing what they're good at, run blocking. They just can't get depth. That's the only difference. They can still execute their reach steps, their zone steps, their pitch steps. They can still execute their technique exactly like they would in the run offense as they would the pass offense because of play action. Why are we spreading the ball out? Why are we executing drop back passing game when you know the offensive line isn't built for that? The offensive line isn't built to be a drop back passing team. They're not. The only person on this offensive line who is a like a plus pass blocker is Trent Williams. Lincoln Tomlinson has had some ups and downs this season. Alex Mack has had some ups and downs this season. Brunskill has some ups and downs, and McGlinchey's had some ups and downs. And the reason why we said going into this year that this is fine and this is good with this offensive line because they are run first team. And when you run first, you force defenses to play blocks. You force defenses to play leverage. You force defenses to have to account for the run when you're doing that. And what happens is when you don't do that and you get away from that, all defenses do is pin their ears back and come after the quarterback. That's all they do. And that's what happened yesterday. Again, a lot of critique came on the offensive line. I get it. I saw some guys get home, and I saw some missed opportunities on the offensive line. But again, why are we running an offense that fits no one? Why are we running an offense that fits literally no one? I I don't know. I don't know. Is it because everyone's figured us out? Is it because half of his staff is currently an OC or a head coach for half the league right now, and they just tell the defense like, "This is how you stop it. This is how you key on it. This is how you put yourself in position to stop." Oh, we got another injury. We got another injury. Wow, Jesus. Hey, shout out my boy JM. Great information. This is true. According to Jennifer Lee Chan, Marcel Harris has a thumb fracture and is in surgery tomorrow. So this answers my question of why Dante Johnson was playing linebacker. This answers that question. I was like, why is Dante Johnson playing linebacker? He actually did okay, but I was like, why is he playing linebacker? This tells you why. Yikes. Yikes, guys. Yikes. Hold on. Let me get this tweeted out too. Let me get this fantastic news posted to my platforms, and then we'll be back to talk about this now. So Marcel Harris got a broken thumb, likely headed to short-term IR, is what it sounds like, according to Jennifer Lee Chan of NBC Athletic. All right. Bear with me as I get this posted. Man, tough break after tough break for the 49er fans. Hey, at the end of the day, we got the sourdough squad, right? At the end of the day, we got each other. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. All right. Hold on one second. What a disaster. 49ers linebacker Marcel Harris has an apparent broken thumb. Make sure. Has a thumb fracture. Has a apparent thumb fracture. Fracture per Jennifer Lee Chan. Man, tough times. 49ers linebacker Marcel Harris has an apparent thumb fracture per Jennifer Lee Chan. Could be placed on short-term IR. Man, what a tough day. What a tough start to this year. And it's not a lot of confidence being built. Not a lot of confidence being built in the hows and the whys, at least from our perspective. And again, they don't operate off of what we think or what we think should occur, which I understand. But this is hard, man. This is hard. This is really hard. All right. So I'm going to do this, guys. I'm going to do this. I've been on this particular live for now 2 hours. I do want to actually wait. Let me get this tweet out. Let me finish. Let me finish my tweet. All right. So I do want to reset a bit. I've been going for 2 hours. Um, I do want to get Instagram involved in here. So I'm gonna take a step back as the news comes out, and then I'll probably be back on in maybe about a half an hour. Like I said, I want to reset. I want to go live with Instagram. I haven't gone live with Instagram yet today, but I also want to see what comes out of this. Um, so I'll be back. I'll be back, guys. So if you do want to watch that or keep an eye out for that, um, I'll do more Q&A that time around. I've said all I could say. Uh, not actually, I haven't, surprisingly, but I said all I can say about the coach and Trey Lance, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo. Um, but I'll reset for a Q&A and all that kind of stuff. But again, thank you guys for sticking it out this long, um, asking all the questions. Hey, Luke, I'll call you my deputy chat police. Like you will be our like leading whatever chat police. You tell me to boot someone, I'll boot them. So Luke is a key member of the Sourdough Squad. Luke, if you want that responsibility, if you want to be the chief deputy chat police, let me know. You tell me to boot someone, I'll boot someone. So I trust you. I know you are a uh, purveyor of good vibes. So, all right, he told on himself. Got him. Got him. I got him for you, Luke. I got him. Again, yeah, I agree. We can all, again, even me and Luke, me and even Luke, we don't agree. We don't agree, but we still vibing. Still my boy. Like people just take it too far. Like we can have different opinions. Like we can. So shout out Luke and all that stuff. Sourdough Squad. We appreciate you. We see you. The real ones know. The real ones know. All right. The real ones know. Um, like I said, I'll reset. Let me reset and see all the news, and then I'll come back on. I appreciate all you guys. Again, I've seen some of you've been here for the whole 2 hours. Um, really appreciate you guys. And look at that super chat on point, just for our guy. Where'd it go? Right here. hey, hey, 100 fish tanks. Maybe you should be more like, more like, more like our boy Luke out here. Appreciate you, my guy. Um, so I appreciate all you guys. Uh, gotta say it. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We'll be back. Hit even the notification thing. Like I said, I'm gonna come back on later tonight to see what's going on and then kind of reset my thoughts. And then we'll be back. But appreciate all you guys. Um, as always, good vibes only in the Sourdough Squad. And if any other of the Sourdough Squad wants to take on to be part of the chat police, let me know. I know who you guys are. If you guys point out a bad egg, let me know. We'll get his ass out. It's a vibe around here. It's a vibe. All right. So appreciate you guys. We'll be back in a little bit.